So I finished my grandson's room and his hallway. And it looks 90% better. There are some things I left for him to arrange the way he wanted it himself, but for the most part, his living space is clean. And doing that, it increase my mood a bit. Because, coming through here, cleaning up, it just reminded me of some things, with his dad and his uncle, them growing up, my boys, them growing up, because this used to be his dad's room. And now I have to tell his dad to clean up too. And when his dad didn't clean up fast enough, then yeah, I was up here cleaning up. And it got to the point, where he didn't like that. Neither one of my boys, my oldest son caught on faster than my youngest son. If you leaving stuff in the floor, I see it in the floor for more than 2 or 3 days, that means you don't want it. So it's trash. So when I come through. I'm like a street sweeper. If it's on the floor, it's garbage. If it's off in the corner, it's garbage. Something balled up I can't identify, I'm not finna try to. I'm going to get me a bag, reach down, pick it up, turn it inside out. It's going in the trash. And I'm not necessarily doing that with my grandson with some things, but for the most part, he gets stuff thrown away too. I'm like, I'm not trying to figure what that is. And then you got something sticking to something like, oh no, that's out of here. No, hazmat issue. That's what I call it. But, it did increase my mood a bit. As I shared before, I've been suffering with depression, from this dang PTSD. Sometimes it kick in like that for whatever reason, different things. But, in doing this, I had some good memories too, but then I also had some reminders of, certain things and areas and people in my life are like, yeah, you got to cut that out too. You got to remove yourself from that. You got to remove yourself from this person. Of which, that is a practice that I keep going in my life, but sometimes I need reminders, and up here cleaning up my grandson's room in his hallway. It was another reminder, it's like, it's some more folks got to go. It's some more things you got to let go of. It's some things you need to move away from. And that's just life, for anyone, I believe. There comes times in your life where you just got to cut folks out. Me, I've always been the type of person where I just been real close around family and people who are close to me like family. Some folks I'm associated to, but there have been some family members and some people who are close like family and some people who are associated to my family where I've had to remove myself. And it's like, can't do it. That love you from afar thing. Some people I have no contact with at all anymore. That's just life. But with this, with this depression, I don't like it. Keeps me in a sullen mood. What I just do, I just keep moving. I will encourage anybody else for that too, especially my veterans, my vet family, just keep moving. Soldiers, I know you guys, your depression doesn't set in like ours because you're constantly moving, you 24/7, your days and your hours, they never end. So you don't have time for things to set in on you, which is a good thing. Well, for my veterans, for those of us who have retired and we've ETS'd or whatever else, it's time when things set in, and depression is one. And I just encourage you, you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. As much as you don't want to, you have to. There's something that you can be doing, something that can keep you busy, something that could keep you away from vices that'll push you back further into depression. I know there are a lot of us that we're on meds. If you take the meds out of sync, how you're supposed to, that can sink you farther into a depression. That can also sink you into an addiction. Some of us, we drink. Some of us drink too much. That could also send you further into depression and into an addiction. So I just encourage you to keep moving. I didn't feel like exercising today, but I knew that there are some things that need to be cleaned. And for me, I can't, when certain areas of the house, I could let it ride. Okay, so a little bit of dust right there. I have to actually be up on it to see the dust. If I see dust from across the room, yeah, we got an issue. That whole room is getting tore down. But, like the bathroom and the kitchen, I can't tolerate that. That stuff has to be clean. I could do a couple of dishes, but no, we don't do that stacking stuff. It has to be clean. Some people call it OCD. No, that's just cleanliness. That's all it is. I just encourage you to do something, and that's what I had today. I knew some things need to be clean, so moving around, clean them at my leisure. So now that this area is clean, then I'll go. I have some tidying to do in my own room, and I'm very meticulous about that. So that'll take a little bit. That'll take a little bit of time. So, but I encourage you all with that. Just please keep moving. We have, on average, 22 veterans a day who take their lives. And the people who last saw those veterans, they tend to pose the same question every time. He or she seemed just fine last time I talked to him. Or the last time I talked to them, they told me they were okay. Or the last time I talked to them or seen them, they sound okay. You don't know. All my vets, you guys continue to, we continue to check on one another. It doesn't, one is too many a day. 22 is outrageous. So yeah, I'll go ahead and check in. I'm fine. Not a danger to myself or anyone else. Yes, I do have weapons available to me, but those are for self-defense only. I will not harm myself or anyone else with those weapons. I am in a safe and secure place. And yes, I am safe where I am. And no one is a harm or danger to me. Check on one another. We got to keep checking on each other. And got to keep moving.